Thank you so much for joining me on another episode of You Are the One You Seek. My name is David, and I am continuing today to read from the Jeshua channelings. We're almost there, only got a few more chapters left, and I've been reading from the public channelings in case it's been unclear why Jeshua is saying, "Dear friends, it is so good to be with you today," etc., etc., whatever. So I really like that. I really like the public aspect of it because it does kind of bring a realness to the channelings, that this isn't just somebody, in their basement coming up with these ideas. They're actually out there in public doing the same, channeling the same spirit and energy. And clearly the words are, not changing much at all. So if this was all contrived in private, then it's pretty remarkable that you could go in public and have the same types of words and ideas come out just, in a free flow. And I've actually listened to a few other channelings with Jeshua from, I'm probably saying it wrong, but JM from Way of Mastery. And those are really remarkable too, because there's a Q&A session and Jeshua has a really good sense of humor. There's one woman in particular that he says, I've known you for a very, very long time. And he says that only after kind of ribbing her when she's asking this question about, her destiny or something. And he jokingly replies, "I'm sorry, there's no hope for you. There's absolutely nothing I can do for you." Like, kind of teases her like she's doomed. And then he kind of starts laughing and saying, "Pardon the levity, but I've known you for a very long time." And then, then he tells her he loves her very much. And it comes across as very playful, but very sincere. And that's sort of like the Yeshua/Jesus that I always wanted to believe exists. It's kind of how he's portrayed in The Chosen, if you've ever seen that, which is still too like Bible normative for me to grab hold of all of it. But there's definitely some interesting portrayals in there that I find, worth observing for sure. But I really like this portrayal of Jesus as a personable, warm, receptive type of guy. Not someone who's like he's been turned into by a lot of the church as some sort of hyper-masculine, badass, toothless, bar-brawling type of dude. And I just don't, it's just because he overturned the money changers' tables in the temple or whatever and spoke out pretty passionately against hypocrisy and religious orders and, just kind of rule-based living that isn't coming from the heart. But he wasn't going around, picking physical fights and being like some kind of Wild West crazy person. So I think that really is encapsulated well in the chapter I'm about to read, which is male and female energy. Because I believe in Jeshua, he was demonstrating a very balanced combination of the two, which is really what we're meant to get to, is balancing the male and female energies within each of us, that none of us are purely one or the other. Regardless of what gender or sex or whatever you identify with, that really is beside the point. That's why I think, these teachings really transcend the need to categorize or put into a box anyone in the LGBTQ community or anyone who's kind of on the margins and has been viewed by society as wrong or different or an outcast or whatever. It really is, I really feel like, these esoteric channelings from Jeshua and so many others really transcend all of the judgments and limitations we have on people. Because I believe every single person has male and female energy within them, and it's ultimately about balancing that. Balancing but also healing it. So Jeshua talks a lot in this channeling about healing the male and female energies. And it's really just one of the many chapters that was so cool for me to hear, because I didn't know if like this was the kind of stuff that, the Jesus that I knew of was going to talk about. And that's what makes these channelings so important for me, is because it covers so many different topics that you don't find really covered in the Bible very thoroughly or clearly, to me at least. So anyway, without further ado, here we go with male and female energy. Male and female energy. Dear friends, it gives me great pleasure to be with you again. I am so glad to be in your company. You have a tendency to look up to me or to beings like me as masters, but we do not see it that way. We see you following your path on earth at a challenging time, a time when much is changing, and we see you growing towards your own mastery. We see you becoming the masters that you still look up to at times, and this is what it is all about. Finding your own mastery. Do not follow any master that is brought before you by tradition or by books, or by anything someone else is telling you. Find your own mastery. That's what it's all about. Today I would like to speak about a theme that reaches back far into your history. The energies of the male and the female. These are old energies, and a lot is going on with them right now. First, I would like to say something about the nature of the male and the female. These energies are two aspects of the one. They therefore are not really opposed or dualistic. They are one. They are two faces of one energy. The male energy is the aspect that is outwardly focused. It is that part of God or spirit that drives outward manifestation, that makes spirit materialize and take form. The male energy therefore knows a strong creative force. It is natural to the male energy to be highly focused and goal-oriented. In this manner, the male energy creates individuality. The male energy allows you to separate yourself from the one, from the whole, and to stand alone and be a specific individual. The female energy is the energy of home. It is the energy of the primal source, the flowing light, pure being. It is the energy that has not yet manifested, the inner aspect of things. The female energy is all-encompassing and oceanic. It does not differentiate or individualize. Now imagine the energy of the female becoming aware of a certain movement inside of her, a slight restlessness, a desire for reaching out, outside of her boundaries, moving outside of herself to attain experience. There is a longing for something new, for adventure, and then an energy comes to her that answers that longing. It is the male energy that wants to be of service and help her manifest in matter, in form. The male energy defines and shapes the female energy, and by their cooperation, the total sum of energies can take a completely new direction. A new reality can be created in which everything can be explored and experienced in ever-changing forms of manifestation. The dance of the male and female brings forth the fluctuating spectacle of created reality, of your creation. This is a spectacle of great beauty wherein the male and female energy worship each other and celebrate their cooperation and playful joining. And this is as it should be. The male and female energy belong together. They are two aspects of the one, and together they celebrate the joyful manifestation that creation is supposed to be. It has been said that in the final realization of who you are, the only truth that matters is, I am. And in this mystical mantra, precisely those two aspects merge. In the I is the male energy, in the am is the female energy. The I is constricting, differentiating. It gives focus, it gives direction, it individuates. I, not the other, I. And then am. Am is oceanic, all-encompassing. It reflects the ocean of home, the female energy, the inexhaustible source that knows no bounds, no differentiation. The flowing and joining aspect is the core of the female energy. In the I am, the male and female come together and blissfully join their energies. Now, in the history of humanity, and even before humanity existed, a conflict arose between the masculine and the feminine. I shall not go into the origin of the conflict now, but in your history there is a drifting apart of male and female energy so that they appear as opposite forces. The yin-yang symbol demonstrates the true situation very well. In the masculine, there was always a core of the feminine, and in the feminine, there is a core of the masculine, just as there is a white dot in the black and a black dot in the white. But in the course of history, this mystical unity of the masculine and feminine has been forgotten, and these energies have become opposed to each other as black and white. The underlying unity was no longer recognized. Right now, you are in the last phase of this history of conflict, in which the male energy has played the part of perpetrator for many centuries. The male energy has long been playing a part in which it oppresses, mutilates, and destroys the female energy. It was not always like that. There have been times in which the female energy had the upper hand and wrongly manipulated and ruled the male energy. But that time is over. The conflict took a different turn at a certain point, and the roles of perpetrator and victim were reversed. The male energy has been in power for a long time now, and has misused this power in such a fashion that the female energy has been weakened and does not realize the integrity of her being anymore. Whenever the masculine and feminine are in conflict, the disintegration of both is inevitable. Where the feminine gets victimized more and more and gets lost in self-denial, the masculine energy loses itself in ruthless violence and the kind of aggression you know from the many wars in your past. The masculine and feminine depend on one another. When they battle each other, the consequences are disastrous. But times are changing. Since the 19th and 20th centuries, the female energy is regaining its strength and rising above the role of victim. This resurrection comes from deep within the feminine energy. She has finally reached the outer limit of her self-denial. At this point, she has looked herself in the face and has stated, "This is as far as it goes." By the way, this is how it always goes in the dynamic between victim and perpetrator. Change starts when the victim refuses to accept any more. The perpetrator could well hang on to his role for a longer while, for he has less of a reason to stop. Revolution starts where the victim refuses to accept anymore and finally takes back her power. In all situations of repression, for example of women in their family or in society, the real moment of change is when the woman, or the feminine energy within a person, decides for herself, "I will not take this any longer." This is when change truly starts to happen. External measures are useless until this moment presents itself. The female energy has arisen and its star is rising. Actually, the most urgent matter in this time and age is the transformation of the male energy. It is now time for a new definition of male energy. I could have easily called this channeling the rebirth of the male energy, for I want to stress that it is only in reunion with a matured and balanced male energy that the female energy can flourish again. The female energy has in the past century, and even before that, regained power and strength. It has begun to flourish in a new and more balanced way. Despite the inequality of the sexes that is still present in your society, the rise of the female energy is unstoppable. However, the female energy cannot gain full strength and vitality without cooperation from the male energy. This goes for the collective level as well as the individual. The female energy cannot make its final breakthrough without the support of and connection with the male energy. This is not because of an inherent weakness in the female energy. It is because of the essential nature of male and female energies, the fact that they are intertwined and can only fulfill their brightest potentials in cooperation. This is why it is imperative now that the male energy reshape itself and venture into the new. When you look at the interplay between male and female on a collective level, the female energy is now in a position of waiting. At present, there is a struggle going on within the collective male energy between the old and the new. A new wave of energy is dawning within the collective male energy that honors and respects the female energy. This new wave of male energy wants to join with the female and together enter the new age. But at the same time, an older wave of male energy is still active and trying to persist. This energy is clearly working in the series of terrorist attacks that has taken place all over your world. The male energy in its old role of heartless aggressor is thereby showing its nasty side. In the ones who commit these horrendous attacks, there are very dark emotions, aggression, anger, and at the same time, utter powerlessness and helplessness. It is from this utter helplessness that they appeal to the most brute and destructive types of power display. This male energy we are speaking of is in its death agonies. It senses that there are important changes going on collectively and that humanity is on the threshold of a new era. One of the problems you are now facing while growing towards a more balanced cooperation between male and female is how to deal with this kind of ruthless energy. What are we going to do about this old male energy that is trying to create as much havoc and destruction as possible in its downfall? Let me tell you this, its downfall is a fact. The struggle has been lost by the old male energy, but it will not surrender easily, and it will resist to the very last with aggression and merciless attempts at domination. Much will depend on how the inner collective attitude will be to these aggressors. Will you allow anger and powerlessness into your own energy field as a reaction to acts of violence? Then you open up to the energy field of the aggressors. At the very moment you feel overpowered by anger and resentment toward them, they have reached their target. You are then sucked into their energetic vibration, and you would be willing to kill as well, kill the murderers of the innocent. This is all very understandable, but it is vital to realize what's happening here. As soon as there are intense emotions rising up, it is wise to make a pause, in silence. Go back to the quiet, knowing part of you and ask, what is really going on here? It is all about your wisdom and discernment now, your ability to see through things and to feel what really is at stake. The world will not be taken over by terrorist powers. The old male energy has served its time, and its dying hour is at hand. The most important message I have about terrorism, this manifestation of old male aggression, is stay conscious. Do not let yourself be taken off center by emotions of powerlessness, i.e. by getting victimized. Know that no one will be touched by this aggressive energy if they do not allow it into their energy field. If you do not react with anger or hatred, you will not draw it to you. You will be safe and protected by your own light. I now would like to pay attention to the more mundane individual level, the level at which you deal with the male and female energies within yourself. For on the individual level as well, there has been a struggle between the male and the female energies. Everything that happens collectively mirrors processes at the individual level. To illustrate the importance of balance between the feminine and masculine on the individual level, I will speak of the energy centers in every human, which are also called the chakras. There are 7 of them that you know of now, and these are located along the spine, from the tailbone to the crown. I will go into all of these chakras briefly to show you that they are all characterized by either a predominantly male or female type of energy. The tailbone, or root chakra, is the energy center that connects you to the earth. The energy in this chakra reaches out to the earth and allows you to manifest your soul energy in physical form on the dense, material level of reality. In view of the reaching out and manifesting type of energy in the tailbone chakra, you may call it a predominantly male chakra. A chakra is never completely male or female, but one may say that the male energy has the upper hand here. The second chakra is called the navel or belly button chakra, and it is the center of emotions. This center allows you to experience emotions, mood swings, in short, all the highs and lows of emotional life. It is a receptive center. That is why I call it a female center, a chakra in which the female flow of energy dominates. The third chakra, also called the solar plexus, is a center of action and creation. This is a center which reaches out and allows energy to manifest in physical reality. You may compare it to the sun, the outpouring of rays and the power of the yellow sunlight. The natural color of the third chakra is yellow. In the solar plexus, your thoughts, ideas, and desires are transformed into outer manifestation. It is the chakra of action and outward expression. It is also the seat of the ego, meaning the earthly personality, without negative implications. The predominant energy is male. The heart chakra is a receptive center like the navel chakra, and it has the special ability to connect different flows of energy. It is the center in which the energies of the lower 3 chakras, earth reality, and the upper 3 chakras, cosmic reality, connect. The heart is the bridge between mind, head, and emotion, belly. From the heart, you are also able to connect with others and transcend yourself. The heart transcends the boundaries of the ego and enables you to feel oneness with anything outside of you, even with all that is. The heart chakra is the gateway to the energy of home. It is clearly a center of connection, and it is therefore predominantly feminine. The throat chakra is male. From this center, inner promptings, ideas, and emotions are given physical shape through speaking, crying, laughing, singing, yelling, etc. Here, the inner life is expressed outwardly by communication through the voice and through language. This center enables you to make your inner life known to others by means of physical signals, words, sounds, concepts. It is a center of manifestation that enables you to focus your energy outwardly into the physical plane. It is also a center of creativity. The 6th chakra, also called the third eye, which is located in the middle of your head, is feminine again. It receives extrasensory, intuitive impressions and transcends the boundaries of the physical, the 5 physical senses. It is the seat of clairvoyance, clairsentience, etc. Through this center, you can feel the energy of someone else, the emotions, the pains, the joys, as your own. With this ability of empathy, you transcend the boundaries of the ego and you connect with that which is not you. Finally, there is the crown chakra on top of the head. This chakra is neither male nor female, or you might say it is both. In this chakra, you rise above the duality of male and female. The crown chakra is an interesting combination of both energies. When this chakra is balanced, the consciousness therein is in a state of receiving as much as reaching out. There is a reaching upwards to other dimensions where it seeks spiritual meaning or support, or to deeper layers of the self. And at the same time, there is a quiet and tranquil receptiveness, a knowingness that the answers will come in good time. It is a type of consciousness that is both highly focused and highly receptive. In this state of mind, you come very close to the unity that underlies male and female energies, the energy of spirit or God. I have now sketched very roughly the movement of the male and the female energy flows throughout the energetic body of the human being. Now I wish to speak of the lowest 3 chakras in particular. These are the chakras that are most connected to the earth, that are most involved with being in the earthly realm. This area of the lowest 3 chakras is of utmost importance in your inner road to healing, for in this area lie the deepest traumas and emotional scars. You often feel you are earthly beings opening up to the spiritual, but we see it the other way around. You are spiritual beings opening up to the earth. The earth is a brilliant destination, a hidden diamond that has yet to reveal its true beauty. The earth is the promised land. Heaven is your birthplace, but you will not return to the state of consciousness that you remember as home or heaven, to a state of purely spiritual being. The adventure of creation brings you to new destinations. You are always expanding and progressing towards a wholly new type of consciousness. We have spoken of this before in the last chapter of the Lightworker series. Earth is an essential part of this journey. However, in your manifestations on Earth and your attempts to express yourself there, you have suffered much pain. Almost all of you have severe emotional wounds in the lowest 3 chakras, caused by experiences of rejection, violence, and abandonment. This may have happened in past lives as well as in this lifetime. Almost all energy blocks in the upper chakras are related to emotional hurts in the lowest 3 chakras. I will say a little bit about the tailbone chakra first. Your connection to the earth has become emotionally burdened, especially for lightworkers. Because you have met with grave resistance over many lifetimes, there is much fear and reserve in you when it comes to truly grounding yourself. Grounding yourself means being fully present in your earthly bodies and expressing your innermost inspiration in material reality. The resistance to grounding yourself fully has been discussed before in the Lightworker series. It has mainly to do with you being different and having been rejected for it. In the second chakra, the emotional center, you have also been affected deeply by experiences of being threatened or deserted, literally or emotionally, and by being severely restricted in your self-expression. With these traumatic burdens in the lowest 2 chakras, the solar plexus, or third chakra, is also heavily affected. The solar plexus has to do with life force, creative energy, and power. You know few examples of what true power means. With this, I mean power that is not aggressive and destructive. In the solar plexus chakra, you often see that a person manifests himself or herself either in an aggressive, controlling way or in a subdued, overly modest way. Both ways are the result of underlying feelings of helplessness stemming from a wounded first and second chakra. In the third chakra, it is all about finding a balanced way of dealing with power and control. It is about a balanced ego. Ego is okay. The ego has a proper function. It lends focus to your consciousness, which enables you to create and manifest as the separate individual that you are. Yes, you are part of a greater whole, but you are also I, separate and different from anyone else. The ego is a necessary complement to the spiritual part of you that transcends the I. The energy of the ego is fully honorable and justified in the energetic reality that you live. True power is in the joyful alignment of ego and spirit. The area of the lowest 3 chakras is the most important area in self-healing and inner growth. The greatest spiritual challenge to you now is to take care of this wounded area in yourself. Meditating to transcend physical reality or connect to elusive cosmic levels is not your main goal now. Your goal is to give your gentlest understanding and loving support to that hurt inner child within you and to restore its beauty and playfulness. This is your spiritual journey. Herein lies the greatest treasure. Cherishing and respecting the human side of you, the child part of you, is your road to divine compassion and enlightenment. I would like to draw your attention to the fact that within this energetic area, 2 out of the 3 chakras concerned are male. This shows that especially with regard to the male energies within each of you, much healing work is to be done. Therefore, my message to you now is, heal the male energy within. The feminine energy is in many ways recovering and acquiring the strength needed to express itself fully and beautifully. The female qualities of intuition, sensitivity, and connectedness are being appreciated more and more, individually as well as collectively. But it is not so clear what a balanced male energy truly looks like. The male energy somehow got lost in false images of what it means to be a man, stereotypes that always boil down to power through aggression. It is vital to recognize and express the true nature of male energy. The female side now needs the balanced male energy to be able to truly fulfill her role. The female energy is waiting, not just at the collective level, but also on the individual level. The female energy is getting out of its victim role, regaining its self-esteem, and it is now waiting to manifest itself powerfully and joyfully through the reunion with the male. So what then is the power of balanced male energy? This goes for the male energy in both men and women. In the first chakra, a healed and balanced male energy leads to self-consciousness. The male energy does not have to fight and struggle anymore. It is present through self-consciousness. Presence, i.e. being fully present with all of your soul, is an essential quality of the first chakra. Being present self-consciously means to stay aware of yourself, remaining centered, not getting lost in someone else's opinions, expectations, or needs. It is about finding the balance between connecting with others and being true to yourself. A balanced male energy in the tailbone chakra allows you to remain centered and aware of yourself while you interact with others in the outside world. It is essential to develop this quality of self-consciousness, for it will protect and guide your female energy. The female energy is naturally inclined to connect with others, other living beings, and to be present with the other in a caring, nurturing way. The male energy makes for boundaries and helps find a balance between giving and receiving. With regard to the flowing, connecting female energies, the male energy in the lowest chakra fulfills the role of anchor and backbone. It is the point of coming home to yourself, the point of releasing ties to other energies that you have connected with. The solar plexus, or third chakra, fulfills the same role in a different way. This chakra is, as I said before, the energy center of the ego. You still have trouble with this concept of the ego. Especially among lightworker souls, there is a tendency to look upon the giving, self-transcending energies in the human being as higher. But it is not so. You live in a world in which 2 energies play together and form the building blocks of creation. One tends to connect and seek for unity, the other creates separation and individuality, and the latter energy is just as viable and valuable as the former one. It is important to make peace with the male energy, to embrace your individuality, your uniqueness, your I-ness. There is an essential aloneness in life which has nothing to do with loneliness, but which has everything to do with you being an I, a unique individual. To embrace this aloneness does not stand in the way of experiencing deep connections to others. If you truly embrace your individuality, you become an empowered, independent, and creative individual, able to share your energy deeply with anyone or anything, because you are not afraid to lose yourself in it or give up your individuality. The male energy of the solar plexus helps you become truly creative and empowered. That is what the female energy in you is waiting for. Your heartfelt inspiration wants to make itself known on the material level. It wants to come out in a very earthly manner and bring tidings of love and harmony to the earth. The female energy is the carrier of the new age, but it needs a balanced male energy to truly manifest itself and grow roots into material reality. That is why it is of such great importance that the energies of the first and third chakra are healed. The energy of a healthy ego, the healed solar plexus, is self-confidence, In the first chakra, it is self-consciousness. In the third chakra, it is self-confidence. This is not the kind of arrogance you see in an inflated ego. It is simply about trusting yourself. I feel that I can do it. It is your being aware of your own deepest inspiration, your own creative abilities, and then acting accordingly. Let your energies flow out of you. Trust your natural talents and gifts. Trust who you are and show yourself to the world. Especially for you lightworkers who carry so much inner knowledge and wisdom, it is now time to show yourself and not hide anymore. It is time. This is your destination, and in this you will find your greatest fulfillment. Make peace with the male energy within. Do not hesitate to stand up for yourself, to receive abundance, and to take good care of yourself. Be egotistical, in the pure and neutral sense of the word. You are an ego. You are an individual. You cannot and need not be forgiving and understanding all the time. It is not spiritual to tolerate everything and anything. Clearly, there are moments at which you have to say no, or even farewell, and not compromise who you are. Do this without guilt or fear, and feel how the male energies of self-consciousness and self-confidence empower you to let the delicate flower of your female energy flourish and shine. It is all about the cooperation between the energies. Male and female energies have gone down together in a long and painful struggle. They will also rise together, for one cannot be balanced without the other. Now that the female energy is ready to rise from the ashes of humiliation and repression, there is an urgent need for a rebirth of the male energy. This rebirth of the male will become visible on a collective scale eventually, but it will first manifest in each of you separately, man and woman. You all are the keepers of these ancient energies within you, and it is your birthright to make their partnership equal and joyful. End of chapter. Thank you so much again for listening and checking out the Jeshua channelings through this podcast. I really do appreciate it. Even if the numbers aren't enormous for YouTube's sake, I'm just excited to have anybody out there interested in listening to these channelings, to NDE stories, to my story. And I'm just trying to trust that this is where I'm supposed to be right now, even if it doesn't look at all like maybe I had dreamed things up or what I had envisioned as a child. Life doesn't always go the way that our thinking mind expects it to go or wants it to go, but that is usually for a reason, because we chose a series of experiences to learn from. And it really has to do with our perspective, right? Are we the victim or are we the victor? And I think we're the victor of our own stories because we ultimately craft them in such a way that we can never be, truly lost or spun out in despair and isolation and depression, maybe for several lifetimes. But that doesn't mean that that's where we're going to stay. We maybe needed that darkness to fully appreciate the light. And anyway, in this particular case with this chapter, I love how Jeshua kind of fleshes out the complexity of the male and female energy, of the divine masculine and the divine feminine, and how they're not meant to be one or the other, or in a dualistic place, but they're meant to be harmonized. And that's the future, this flash that's supposed to be coming, this shift that's supposed to be happening, all these things that are being predicted left and right on all the other channels on YouTube I follow. It's hard to miss at this point because they're all saying the same thing. Big shift coming, and obviously, when you try and put a date on it, that's risky business, and most of the ones I follow don't. They give a general timeline when they think maybe it'll happen, but they're not trying to put, on this day kind of thing, because that's a losing game. No one's really ever been right about that, as far as like the end of the world or whatever. And I do think it is the end of the world. I think it's the end of the old world and the world that we are growing weary of. We're ready to step into something new and different that energizes us, that makes us feel like we are actually stepping into a combination of human and spirit, not pulled to this extreme of slave and dominated and subjugated and controlled. All these things we feel right now. And it's saying in these channelings that the male energy is the one that needs the most healing right now, and you can really see that playing out. The world is full of angry, toxic, narcissistic men who want to control and rule everything. And the more power they get, the more money, the more separation from the common man, the more you see them just get detached. And now we have social media to broadcast their detachment in real time. And actually, that's a great thing. On one hand, we're like freaking out because it's like, oh my God, these people are crazy and they're just putting it out there. But hey, they're putting it out there. We're able to see it for what it is instead of them being crafty and concealing it like in the past. And I think the reason they can't really be crafty or conceal it anymore is because those energies are, like Jeshua said, in their death agonies. So the old way is dying out, and the energy of that is desperate to stay in charge. But it's lost its ability to deceive us anymore because the light and the higher vibrations are gaining. The solar cycle is apparently a part of this. Every time there's a flare or a CME or whatever, it's supposed to, in some way, affect our magnetic field. And some theories are that it's breaking down the veil of illusion, that we're separate. Now, I don't know if the solar maximum plays into ascension. There's a lot of people who believe that it does, and I'm certainly following that trend and watching like Stefan Burns on YouTube and a few other people who track solar weather. And it's interesting. It's really interesting to consider that might be a part of this whole process. But it does sound like things are going to be happening more rapidly in the world that are scary and unsettling if you're counting on the old way, the old matrix, the former setup to be what holds us and gives us peace. If we can let go of that, if we can say we're done with these systems and left-brained, controlling, dominated type of world, then I think we open up to this new reality that we create just through our intention and our thoughts. The same way we thought up this idea of separation is the same power we have to think about a union again and thinking about truly unifying spirit and flesh. Because that's I think the ultimate alchemy is to find a balance and a harmony there so that we can enjoy this physical earth with a deeper connection to our spirit, to our higher selves, to our divine nature. And I can't think of a better way for that to happen than the male and the female energy to finally come back together in harmony and no longer be in this weird power struggle and abuse of one another. There's been a lot of progress, but there's also still a ton of places in the world where women are treated like cattle. Recently in Afghanistan, the Taliban ruled that women can no longer utter a noise in public. They have to cover themselves completely, and they can't make a sound so as not to excite the carnal lusts of men or some such bullshit. It's again so obvious and in our face, right? How toxic things have become where people are so polarized to one extreme or the other. You're either like a feminist, hardcore feminist, or you're an incel, which is an involuntarily celibate person. And, we don't have to choose extremes. We don't have to gravitate towards one side that's screaming over the other side that's screaming. Let's put them all in their place and go, okay, I'm ready for a new way, a different way forward where man and woman and masculine and feminine are in harmony, are working together, are not seeing all these unnecessary divisions. So that's the future that I am excited about and that I am planning on being a part of, working towards manifesting in my own life. And that's all I can do. I can't control what's going to happen. I can't predict when or if there's going to be a flash of light, 3 days of darkness, an ascension event, a consciousness lift. But it feels intuitively like we're moving towards that change. I don't believe we're headed towards the annihilation that it kind of looks like we're headed towards if you're just looking at things on a physical, cold, scientific, naturalistic way. Because in a lot of ways it looks like we're about to burn up the earth and, either nuke ourselves off the planet or be carried away with a series of cataclysmic weather events or an asteroid or whatever. I don't believe that's our future. I believe that we are heading towards a reintegration with Source, and we will bring paradise back to Earth. I think it was once here. I think we once had a balanced and perfect and beautiful Earth plane, but again, we're playing around with different energies. We are experiencing contrast. So right now we're coming out of the darkest, lowest vibration version of ourselves, but with this new eager anticipation to be like the caterpillar and to go into a chrysalis and come out this beautiful, majestic new creature that doesn't even really resemble the old one like at all. So I don't know about you, fellow butterflies, but I'm ready to spread my wings. With that, if you would like to send me a message or give me love or hate mail, you can fire away either one. You have the keys. 639@gmail.com is my email. And then if you want to find me on the old Instagrams, because that's the only social media that I'm barely clinging on to at the moment, you can find me there at You Are the One You Seek. And again, you can find Pamela and Garrett's work at www.yeshua.net. There's several books that Pamela's written, including channels she's done with Mary Magdalene, and I believe there's a few others. I really haven't gone down the full rabbit trail like I should, but I'm scattered. I'm trying to read 20 different books. But there's really great current channelings with Yeshua that they put out on their newsletter. And then there's books that are based on other channelings, and there's just a lot of really great wisdom and insight from those two. So check them out. And also another really great resource is the Giving Voice to the Wisdom of the Ages YouTube. There's a primary and a backup. The primary had gotten taken down for some copyright claim, and then they put up all the material on a second channel. Now they're both back up, which has readings of the Yeshua channelings by Barry Peterson, as well as Barry Peterson reading The Forbidden Female Speaks, which is a really, really interesting book where Pamela is channeling Mary Magdalene. And she was trying to actually channel Yeshua, but a different energy came through, and that's who she realized she was channeling. And there's just some really great, really further expands on today's channeling about male and female energy, because Mary is talking about explicitly where things have kind of gone wrong, or where there's been balance issues between masculine and feminine energy. And it's just really, really empowering, great information. Even if you don't believe it's really authentic or real, like my doubting, cynical mind wants to keep telling me, but my heart keeps saying something else. My heart keeps saying, you know what? This is inspiring. This is energizing. It does something in me that I can't really articulate, but that's positive. So why would I try and dismiss it and write it off? So, and that I think is kind of the barometer that most of us should maybe try and consider when listening to channelings or anything else. You don't have to completely accept it or completely reject it. You can take the parts that really resonate and run with that. And if the whole thing, if the bulk of it doesn't resonate with you, or maybe feels a little bit irrelevant to you, then just put it to the side and don't worry about it. You don't have to even judge it or say it's wrong, it's deceptive, or anything like that. You can just say, this is not for me. So with that being said, I'm going to shut my pie hole and let you get back to your beautiful lives. And I hope that you go in love and light as usual. And namaste.